Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Chief Germain, Chief of the Barnegat Police Department. I just want to take a few minutes today to reach out to the community and talk about some of the steps that we are taking as an agency here to prepare for any potential impacts from the novel coronavirus here in Barnegat Township. Several weeks ago, in seeing what was developing in China and then thereafter in Europe, we began putting a plan together and in place here to prepare for this eventuality. As part of that plan, we began to procure the proper protective equipment and supplies for our officers to ensure that we would have the tools we need to continue delivering the public safety services that you expect and have become accustomed to from us during any potential outbreak. Really, the plan that we put together focuses on two key goals. One of those goals is clearly protecting our service population. And there are a couple of steps and modifications that we've put in place over the last couple of weeks to accomplish that. A couple of those you might not have noticed. One primary thing that we've done is if we have a call for service that doesn't require evidence processing, doesn't require an officer to conduct an on-scene investigation, we're trying to contact those complainants, those callers, by phone, and we are handling those cases by telephone, completing the reports, doing everything the way that we would normally do it, but avoiding having physical contact with our residents. And we're doing that because we know that carriers of novel coronavirus can be asymptomatic. They're not showing any signs of illness, but they can be carrying it and potentially spreading it for up to a couple of weeks. So we don't want to unnecessarily introduce anything into your home that we don't need to. So we're limiting our interaction solely for those calls that really require us to be there. Now, we're still going to any life-saving calls, any crimes in progress that would necessarily require a police response. So on the medical side, cardiac arrest, respiratory arrest, calls where life-saving measures are needed, we're still responding to those the same as we always have. But the general weakness calls, the rolled ankle, those are calls that we're letting first aid handle the way that they always have with their quick response times. And again, we're limiting our interaction as an agency on those calls so that we are not unnecessarily introducing ourselves into your home, all right, when we don't need to. That's part one. The other part of the plan, and another thing that we're trying to prevent, is any attrition within our workforce. We already see in some communities throughout the states that as public safety employees are exposed to or have potential exposures to novel coronavirus, they have to be quarantined for 14 days. Clearly, we don't have a 400 or 500 person police department, so we have to be very cautious about protecting our workforce and making sure that we don't unnecessarily have to suffer rates of absenteeism due to the illness. So we've taken numerous steps within the building to ensure that our officers have as low an exposure as possible so we protect our workforce, because again, ultimately protecting the public requires us to have a well-staffed workforce. Along those lines, the agency has procured a supply of the N95 respirators, or what some people would commonly refer to as a mask, and the officers have been authorized to wear those. So you may in the coming days see our officers out and about wearing a mask. We don't want people to be alarmed by that, but again, by nature of the job that we're asking the women and men of the agency to do, they don't have the option of limiting their contact with the public entirely. They have to be out there being police officers. So you may see them out wearing masks, and if you do, we don't want you to be alarmed. That's not a sign that there's some imminent threat or outbreak here in Barnegat. We're just taking prudent precautions to ensure that we protect the workforce so we can continue delivering the high level of service that you've come to expect. And then finally, we've been in constant contact, holding daily conference calls with the police chiefs throughout Ocean County. So the chiefs are working together to ensure that we're all on the same page, that we leverage the considerable knowledge and wisdom that group of leaders has, so that we make sure that we're not duplicating any efforts and that we're not reinventing the wheel. There's a lot of great ideas that come out of our agencies within this county, and we want to make sure that we're, as an agency, leveraging all of those for the benefit of our population. Along with that, obviously, we're working with county, state, federal resources. We work closely with the Ocean County Prosecutor's Office, with Sheriff Mastronardi and the Sheriff's Department and Office of Emergency Management, and we'll continue to do so so that we can make sure we're providing the highest level of service possible. So we would just encourage everyone to follow the CDC and the Health Department guidelines. And if you have any questions or concerns, as always, you can email me at germain318@barnegatpolice.us, or feel free to call me here at the police department at 609-698-5000. Thank you.